In midair, three figures hovered. They were none other than Kai-Lin, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent and void-swallowing flame, who had just returned the reclaimed body to the ancestor of the heavenly serpent. At this moment, Kai-Lin and void-swallowing flame's gazes were fixed on a figure in the distant horizon, Xiao, who had slain the heavenly evil emperor. Meanwhile, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent was gazing at the endless heavens and earth around him, marveling at the world he had not seen for over 10,000 years. Buzz. The space in front of the trio rippled, and Xiaoyan's figure emerged. "Are you all right?" Kai-Lin asked softly upon seeing Xiaoyan. "Just a bit drained," Xiaoyan replied, shaking his head to indicate he was fine. However, during his battle with the heavenly evil emperor, he only had 7 heavenly flames at his disposal, leaving him far from his peak strength. This had taken a toll on him. Swish, swish. The sound of tearing air came from nearby as over 10 figures swiftly approached. Leading them was the purifying Lotus Demon Flame, followed by 18 flame spirits. However, the spirits appeared faint and translucent, clearly having expended significant energy against the devouring evil emperor. After arriving, the 18 flame spirits merely cupped their hands toward Xiaoyan before swiftly merging into his body. Their recovery, naturally, depended on him. Void-swallowing flame, seeing that his task was complete, also returned to Xiaoyan's body. Sigh. With the flame spirits merging into him, the vacancies within Xiaoyan's heavenly flame plaza were filled, and the weakness in his body began to subside as void-swallowing flame absorbed spiritual energy from the heavens and earth to aid his recovery. "How did you know the earlier ancestor was an impostor? And why did you suddenly enter the inheritance space?" Kai-Lin asked Xiaoyan. If not for him, she might have fallen for the heavenly evil emperor's scheme. However, since opening the dimensional channel required Xiaoyan's assistance, even if she had followed the heavenly evil emperor's instructions, Xiaoyan would have exposed the plot. The heavenly evil emperor's plan involved spreading half-truths to earn Kai-Lin's trust and using her to open the dimensional channel. Although he and his subordinates, such as the devouring evil emperor, were suppressed, it wouldn't have been difficult to unseal them with Kai-Lin's help. But how did Xiaoyan, outside the inheritance space, learn of the heavenly evil emperor's existence and manage to enter the space to thwart his scheme? "After you entered the inheritance space, I wandered the relic continent and gathered information about the distribution and rise and fall of powers here," Xiaoyan explained. He recounted how he had rescued members of the Yuanda sect and learned about the existence of the primordial ancient dragon clan on the relic continent. At that time, Xiaoyan had spent days outside the inheritance space pondering the startlingly complex information he had uncovered. His curiosity stemmed from the sheer number of coincidences. Long ago, the ancestors of the primordial ancient dragon clan on the relic continent and other powerhouses who had broken through the dimensional shackles and entered the Great Thousand World perished in a catastrophic ancient war. This kind of ruthless slaughter could only be attributed to the extraterritorial evil clan or a particularly vicious faction in the Great Thousand World. However, Xiaoyan trusted his instincts more than speculation. Assuming his hypothesis about the extraterritorial evil clan was correct, Xiaoyan further deduced that while the clan was currently ravaging the lower dimensions, they had not directly attacked the Great Thousand World. The reason was clear. They targeted the weaker lower dimensions because of their inherent inferiority. So how could the extraterritorial evil clan, which had spent millennia attacking the lower dimensions, appear in the Great Thousand World? It was implausible that they were invading now. The only remaining possibility was that the evil clan members present in the Great Thousand World were sealed remnants of the cataclysmic war 10,000 years ago. These sealed entities were scattered throughout the Great Thousand World, and if their seals weakened, they could break free. Connecting these deductions formed a cohesive picture. Over 10,000 years ago, a group of powerhouses who had broken through the dimensional shackles settled on the relic continent, establishing themselves as a formidable force. Later, a seal imprisoning the evil clan on the relic continent broke. These dimensional shackles breakers became the primary target of the evil clan. The evil clan's sights then turned to the lower dimensions associated with these powerhouses. The remaining question lies with the descendants of the primordial ancient dragon ancestor, one of the dimensional shackle breakers. Since these descendants were supposedly eradicated by the extraterritorial evil clan, how could any of their lineage have survived? Furthermore, how did these surviving descendants manage to grow to a fearsome extent, standing shoulder to shoulder with the ancient royal court and the primal divine hall on the relic continent? Xiao had spent a significant amount of time but could not provide a reasonable explanation for this mystery. It wasn't until he recalled a recent remark made by a young member of the Xun'er sect. According to the youth, the primordial ancient dragon clan currently holds the 15th spot on the 10,000 beasts record heavenly rankings for divine beasts and ranks 4th among dragon-type divine beasts. In this statement, Xiao noted a key term, dragon-type. He began to ponder. When these dimensional shackle breakers fought against the extraterritorial evil clan, knowing they were outmatched, would they not have sought help from the top forces of the relic continent or even the Great Thousand Worlds? And if they had sought external assistance, how did they do so? Dragons. If there is any species capable of finding a place anywhere they go, it is either dragons or phoenixes. Nearly every lower dimension has legends of dragons and phoenixes. Likewise, they are no exception in the Great Thousand Worlds. Whether in a lower dimension or the Great Thousand Worlds, dragons and phoenixes are always at the pinnacle of all beast species. Among those facing the attacks of the evil clan powerhouses, one happened to be a dragon-type powerhouse. Being of the same species, this powerhouse would undoubtedly have sought aid from the truly dominant dragon clans of the Great Thousand Worlds. Xiao finally understood why the primordial ancient dragon clan had managed to survive. It was because their ancestor had dispatched powerhouses to request aid from a formidable dragon clan within the Great Thousand Worlds. However, the subsequent events unfolded too quickly. Before the dispatched powerhouses could return with dragon clan reinforcements, the ancestor and their kin were already obliterated by the extraterritorial evil clan. What was left behind was utter devastation. The next question Xiao had was about the surviving powerhouses of the primordial ancient dragon clan. It seemed they had been searching for their original dimension for millennia. The biggest puzzle here was why they couldn't find their own dimension. As a dimensional shackle breaker himself, Xiao was well aware that upon breaking through the dimensional shackles, one would retain a unique spatial sense that allowed them to retrace their steps and return to their original dimension. It was inconceivable to Xiao that someone from a lower dimension could lose track of their origin. The only plausible explanation was that this individual had never been in a lower dimension to begin with. In such a case, they would lack this spatial sense entirely. Xiao speculated that this individual must have been the child of the primordial ancient dragon ancestor, born within the Great Thousand Worlds. Because of their youth and insufficient strength, they could not traverse the dangerous dimensional turbulence between the Great Thousand Worlds and lower dimensions safely. Xiao himself had experienced this turbulence, which was the reason he had temporarily been separated from Xun'er and others. Suddenly, Xiao seemed to realize something. If it was possible to send one descendant of the primordial ancient dragon clan to seek aid from the higher-ranking dragon clans during the attack, why couldn't the same method be used to help other bloodline critical powerhouses from the lower dimension escape and seek assistance elsewhere? Under such circumstances, such actions would have been inevitable. These bloodline powerhouses were most likely not human but belonged to other powerful spirit beast or divine beast species. Yet, the fact that only the primordial ancient dragon clan survived indicates that the other beast powerhouses who attempted to flee and seek help must have encountered misfortune along the way. Ultimately, the only reinforcements that arrived were those for the primordial ancient dragon clan. By the time aid arrived, their ancestor and the others had already perished, including the fleeing beast powerhouses. Those who had cut them down were none other than the extraterritorial evil clan powerhouses. At this point, Xiao believed he had pieced together the main threads of this ancient tragedy. However, just then, outside the inheritance space, a realization struck him like a thunderbolt. He remembered that the place he was in now was the burial ground of a powerhouse who had fallen in ancient times. Moreover, Kylin's ability to resonate with this location indicated that this powerhouse was not human but a member of a beast species, more specifically, a serpent-type divine beast. If what Kai Lin sensed now truly belonged to one of those fallen lower dimension beast powerhouses from back then Xiao Yin could immediately deduce that the one responsible for that powerhouse's demise must have been an expert from the extraterritorial evil clan. Yet, the fact that this powerhouse left behind a legacy indicated that they weren't entirely erased from existence. This also implied that their strength was not vastly inferior to that of the extraterritorial evil clan member who pursued them. In such a close match, it was highly likely that the lower dimension powerhouse used their last efforts to seal the pursuing evil expert before falling. Xiao Yan's heart trembled at the thought. Could it be that the legacy space Kai Lin was in now housed a sealed extraterritorial evil clan member? And after thousands of years, perhaps that seal had begun to weaken. Although these were merely speculations, Xiao Yan's acute senses told him that Kai Lin might be in danger. Without hesitation, he rushed into the spatial world, quickly discovering a bizarre formation embedded within it. With his strength as an Earth Supreme, Xiao Yan swiftly confirmed that the formation was indeed sealing malevolent and corrosive creatures, the extraterritorial evil clan. This verification connected every thread of his deductions into certainty. However, Xiao Yan didn't act rashly. Upon seeing an ancient figure seated opposite Kai Lin atop a massive stone tablet within the formation, he concealed himself in the void behind Kai Lin and listened intently to their conversation. The conversation shocked Xiao Yan profoundly, for a familiar term emerged, aligning all his deductions into a coherent truth. Continent of Do Qi. Those lower dimension powerhouses were from the continent of Do Qi. Even the primordial ancient dragon clan hailed from there. Xiao Yan understood that parts of the so-called ancestor of the heavenly serpent's words were likely false, but two things stood irrefutable. Before coming to the Great Thousand Worlds, Xiao Yan already knew that many Do Di powerhouses from the continent of Do Qi had vanished during ancient times, seemingly to another world. That world was now revealed to be the Great Thousand Worlds. He had long anticipated encountering these powerhouses or their descendants here. Yet, after 2 years in the Great Thousand Worlds without hearing even a whisper of the Do Di, Xiao Yan began to wonder, had they truly not come? Or was his knowledge too limited? Now he realized the truth. It wasn't due to ignorance nor the absence of Do Di powerhouses in the Great Thousand Worlds. They had been wiped out during ancient battles with the extraterritorial evil clan. From the words of the impostor posing as the ancestor of the heavenly serpent, every mention pointed toward the continent of Do Qi, with the clear intent of manipulating Kai Lin into opening a dimensional passage to launch an invasion. Having confirmed the truth, Xiao Yan finally revealed himself, exposing the false ancestor of the heavenly serpent. He swore in his heart that he would annihilate these extraterritorial evil clan members, for they were stained with the blood of countless Do Di powerhouses. The continent of Do Qi and the extraterritorial evil clan, irreconcilable enemies. On the southern fragment of the relic continent, atop a shattered mountain not far from an immense ravine stretching tens of thousands of miles, 3 figures sat facing one another. After hearing Xiao Yan's explanation, both Kai Lin and the ancestor of the heavenly serpent smiled. They were impressed by Xiao Yan's meticulous analysis. Kai Lin, having followed Xiao Yan for decades, was especially surprised. She had never seen him calmly analyze a situation in its entirety. He typically relied on intuition coupled with brief contemplation before acting. Though there are some inaccuracies, you've grasped part of the truth. The ancestor of the heavenly serpent chuckled softly. Indeed, tens of thousands of years ago, the Alliance faced a siege by the unsealed extraterritorial evil clan. Many Do Di fell in that bloody battle. I did escape from the Alliance, but unlike those little whelps from the primordial ancient dragon clan, I wasn't seeking aid. Instead, I split from a few other powerhouses to preserve a trace of the heavenly serpent clan's bloodline. Senior, what exactly happened during ancient times? Xiao Yan pressed on, knowing his deductions couldn't be entirely accurate. It appears the dimensions have truly been sealed by the Dragon Emperor, the ancestor sighed. You've surpassed the 9-star Do Di realm to break through the dimensional shackles set by the Dragon Emperor to reach the Great Thousand Worlds. Quite impressive. Dragon Emperor? Xiao Yan's eyebrows twitched at the mention. Could this dragon emperor be the ancestor of the primordial ancient dragon clan? Isn't that so? A 9-star Do-D is equivalent to a 9th grade supreme in the Great Thousand Worlds. Currently, you are at the Earth's supreme realm, surpassing the 9th grade supreme. Judging by the dimensional shackles of the continent of Do-Chi, it appears you've only recently broken through. When the Dragon Emperor first broke through the dimensional shackles, after assimilating spiritual energy, he too reached the Earth's supreme realm. The ancestor of the heavenly serpent seemed puzzled by Xiao Yan's question. However, Xiao Yan and Kai Lin exchanged even more perplexed glances in response. After a brief moment of silent communication, Xiao Yan finally addressed the ancestor of the heavenly serpent, Xun'er. When I broke through the dimensional shackles, I was only at the strength of a 6-star Do-D. Xiao Yan's words caused the ancestor of the heavenly serpent's heart to jolt. Staring at Xiao Yan with eyes full of suspicion, he muttered incredulously. Xiao Yan was equally confused. Based on the ancestor's explanation, breaking through the dimensional shackles of the continent of Do-Chi required surpassing the 9-star Do-D stage. Yet when Xiao Yan left the continent of Do-Chi, he had only reached the 6-star Do-D level, and when he opened the source energy-filled passageway, he was merely at 4-star Do-D. The mountaintop fell into a strange silence following this revelation. After a dozen breaths of stillness, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent finally broke the quiet. Impossible. If a 6-star Do-D could break through the dimensional shackles of the continent of Do-Chi, it would never have been ranked among the top 10 super dimensions, declared the ancestor of the heavenly serpent. The top 10 super dimensions? The mention of this term sent a shockwave through Xiao Yan's mind, as he was suddenly reminded of something Luo Heavenly God had once told him during his time in the Luo God clan. Luo Heavenly God had explained that there existed a subtle yet profound connection between lower dimensions and the Great Thousand Worlds. Some theorized that lower dimensions were nothing more than reflections of the Great Thousand Worlds, a theory so shocking it reshaped how many viewed dimensional dynamics. This concept explained why individuals from the lower dimensions needed to break through shackles to enter the Great Thousand Worlds, rather than the reverse. Shadows are inherently lesser than their source but remain indispensable. Neither can exist without the other. Furthermore, lower dimensions were stratified into low-tier, mid-tier, high-tier, and even super-tier classifications. The higher the tier, the scarcer the dimension. Luo Heavenly God had deduced that Xiao Yan's origin was from a high-tier dimension. High-tier dimensions emerged only once in every few hundred lower dimensions, while super dimensions were rarer still, appearing only once in tens of thousands. Among these millions of lower dimensions, the pinnacle was undoubtedly the 10 super dimensions. Hearing the ancestor of the heavenly serpent categorize the continent of Do-Chi as one of these 10 left Xiao Yan utterly stunned. It seems the Dragon Emperor must have done something extraordinary to the continent of Do-Chi, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent side, addressing Xiao Yan and Kai Lin. I suspect most traces of ancient events have been erased by the Dragon Emperor through the dimension embryo. Otherwise, you wouldn't know so little about ancient history. Dimension embryo? What's that? Xiao Yan asked curiously. The dimension embryo is a central nexus that forms alongside the birth of any dimension. Controlling it grants near absolute authority over that dimension. Anyone who masters the dimension embryo becomes the lord of the dimension. With mastery over the dimension embryo, one can accomplish almost anything within that dimension. For instance, eradicating both the heavenly evil emperor and the devouring evil emperor would be as simple as a thought, the ancestor explained. Back then, the Dragon Emperor, who mastered the dimension embryo of the continent of Do-Chi, used it with such proficiency that erasing events from people's memories would have been trivial. The dimension embryo? Is it truly that powerful? Xiao Yan was visibly astonished. He then reflected. If he had controlled the dimension embryo during his battle with the sole heavenly emperor, wouldn't defeating him have been effortless? Never had Xiao Yan imagined that such a terrifying artifact existed within the continent of Do-Chi. The fact that no one had ever mentioned it before was proof that others were equally unaware of its existence. If that's the case, when the extraterritorial evil clan attacked the continent of Do-Chi, Why not lure them into the dimension and annihilate them with its power? If total eradication wasn't feasible, sealing them away should have been easy, right? Xiao inquired. Heh, is that so? Think carefully. Does that plan really work? The ancestor of the heavenly serpent chuckled softly. Hearing this, Xiao frowned deeply and began pondering the flaws in his suggestion. No, it wouldn't work, Kailin suddenly interjected, interrupting Xiao train of thought. Surprised, he turned to look at her. If the extraterritorial evil clan were drawn into the continent of Doqi, then the goal itself would be misplaced, Kailin explained. Ultimately, our aim in combating the evil clan is to protect the continent of Doqi. Eradicating them is merely a means to achieve that goal. Error? Couldn't the dimensional power obliterate those evil demons? Xiao asked, his expression filled with confusion. Even if they could be obliterated, what then? The ancestor of the heavenly serpent replied. The greatest problem isn't how to destroy the demons breaking free from the seals, but how to keep the continent of Doqi hidden. In the lower dimension, countless dimensions are concealed within the endless spatial turbulence. Once a dimension is discovered by the extraterritorial evil clan, its fate is almost invariably a bloodbath. Even if one branch of the invading clan is miraculously defeated, the next wave will follow, then the third. And that's just for ordinary dimensions. For the superdimensions, the extraterritorial evil clan will deploy their full might to locate and attack them. The more advanced the dimension, the stronger the demonic army they will send. If a branch of emperor-level demons fails to conquer a dimension, the clan will send 3 branches. If that still proves ineffective, they'll deploy heavenly emperor-level evil demons, beings comparable to Earth's supreme powerhouses. For the top 10 superdimensions, they might even send their heavenly emperor-level evil demons. These demons hold the same status in the extraterritorial evil clan as heavenly supreme powerhouses do in the Great Thousand Worlds. Against such enemies, even possessing the dimension embryo is futile. Heavenly emperor-level evil demons, are they truly that terrifying? Xiao froze at the mention that even the dimension embryo was useless against them. As a heavenly supreme powerhouse, Xiao had encountered others of the same level, including the Western Battle Emperor and Wu Wanlong. On the Central Plains, he had even met 3 other heavenly supremes. Was the dimension embryo really meaningless before such foes? With the transcendent power of a heavenly supreme, they don't need to enter a dimension to fight. Outside the dimension embryo cannot manifest its full power. And with the strength of a heavenly supreme, launching an assault from outside is enough to erase a dimension entirely, casting it into spatial turbulence, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent explained. Thousands of years ago, when the Dragon Emperor broke through the dimensional shackles, a dimension not far from the Doqi dimension was attacked by the extraterritorial evil clan. That dimension had seen a powerhouse ascend through the dimensional shackles to the Great Thousand Worlds centuries earlier. Upon learning that his home dimension was under attack, he launched a devastating assault from the Great Thousand Worlds. This powerhouse, a masterful battle formation expert, joined forces with hundreds of supreme powerhouses. Together, they unleashed an attack equivalent to a strike from a heavenly supreme. That fearsome assault wiped out the entire dimension, along with the extraterritorial evil demons occupying it, erasing it from existence in the spatial turbulence. An entire dimension was obliterated. The sheer magnitude of that power. I can hardly imagine it. Xiao was stunned. Thus, destroying or sealing the demons has become secondary. The most critical task is ensuring the Doqi continent remains hidden. If these demons infiltrate the Doqi continent, even if they are sealed or destroyed, they will still bring disaster. No one can guarantee that these demons don't carry some kind of demonic imprint. Their death or weakened aura due to the seal would inevitably alert the higher echelons of the extraterritorial evil clan. With that connection, locating the Doqi continent would become much easier, the ancestor of the heavenly serpent warned. Hearing this, Xiao finally understood why the Dragon Emperor had urgently sealed off the Doqi continent, eventually fighting a desperate battle against the demons on the relic continent. If the Doqi dimension were exposed, the fate of its countless beings would be at stake. By abandoning the Dimension Embryo's advantage and fighting on the Relic continent, even if all the Do-D powerhouses perished, at least the Do-Chi continent would be preserved. Afterward, the Do-Chi continent saw no new Do-D powerhouses emerge, but such things are unpredictable. Like wildfire suppressed yet reborn with the spring breeze, first Tuasha Ancient Emperor soared into prominence, and later Xiao rose as the Flame Emperor, vanquishing the Soul Emperor. I know you're curious about what happened thousands of years ago, the ancestor of the Heavenly Serpent remarked. Yes, countless people on the Do-Chi continent still seek that answer, Xiao responded.